you and me. Freedom ain't cheap, gotta hold tight. In Jersey Shore, we'll win this fight. No more tears, just righteous pride. In the streets, our spirits reside. Unity strong, we walk this line. One big voice, it's our time. Jersey Shore, we got the fight. Stand together through the night. America first, raising the flag. We ain't never gonna lag. Just righteous pride. In the streets our spirits reside. Unity strong, we walk this line. One big voice, it's our time. Generation fighters take the stand. From shore to shore we reclaim the land. Grit and glory in every strand. In Jersey Shore we make our stand.
Welcome to the Patriots Prayer Network. Here, we don't just play to your feelings. We're rooted in honesty, and our foundation is based on Christian values, conservative beliefs, and a no-holds-barred approach. So, if your feelings clash with reality, it's not reality that needs adjusting. Are you ready to be part of a movement that challenges the official narratives, confronts the overwhelming tide of misinformation, and calls out wrongdoing wherever we find it? If so, you're in the right place. See, truth is our compass, and God is our only judge. Right and wrong mean more to us here at the Patriots Prayer Network than right and left do, and a complacent blind acceptance of the status quo will not be found here. We do not believe things are this bad in our country merely by accident. So, we investigate and dive deep into each episode and tackle pressing issues head on. Many podcasts claim they're unfiltered, but we mean it here. Go to thepatriotsprayernetwork.com.
There it goes. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Jersey Shore. That's S-U-R-E, because we are always sure. It's where politics meet punchlines, and we try to make all this chaos more bearable for you. My name is Damon Galdo, the co-host of Jersey Shore. I'm the host of Jersey Shore. My co-host, Jennifer Shaw. I was going to do ladies first.
That's all right.
I meant to say my co-host, Jennifer Shaw, and ladies first. And now my name is Damon Galdo. We're coming here.
Well, I can be the host and you can be the
Well, if you want to, sure, no problem. We're here in our First Amendment Live studios and brought to you by the Great Patriots Prayer Network. So let's dive in, because as usual, America is a soap opera. That's what it's coming down to. I mean, if you think about it, first up is Tom Homan. Tom Homan is our new border czar. You know, his job fixing the border crisis. I would say to him, good luck with that. You have a better chance of women sterilizing themselves because of Trump winning the election. But isn't that already happening?
That is already happening. They're shaving their heads and sterilizing themselves and
I know, doesn't make it.
Pledging no sex forever, which might not be necessarily a bad idea.
I know, it's crazy.
For some.
But anyway, this is long overdue. I mean, the border's been wide open. We need border security. Meanwhile, left-wing politicians are doing their best to help ignoring federal orders. So you have mayors and governors saying that they're not going to let them into sanctuary cities and sanctuary states and all that stuff. And so, Tom, you got your work cut out for you. So you'll see in segment one coming up. It's called "Cold as Ice." Remember that by Foreigner? I figured that was
favorite songs.
Yeah, I figured it was perfect. Yeah. Good segue. Foreigner sung it. "Cold as Ice."
Cold as Ice. That song.
So, but and basically, defying federal orders has become the slogan of the far left Democratic Party. You know, they just do what they want all the time, and when it comes down to Republicans, they say conservatives are the evil ones. That, you know, they're the ones that are doing the bad. They're the ones going to break the laws. But when they get exposed, they do it themselves. So, and speaking of slogans too, let's talk DEI. You know, the diversity, equity, and inclusion racket, I would say. Republicans have introduced a bill to boot DEI out of government jobs, and we'll play a clip later on showing a congressional hearing about it because they want to get rid of it, because the budget for DEI is outweighs the budget that we have for our homeless and starving veterans. So it doesn't make sense to me. So I'm all for diversity, but diversity, equity, and inclusion is the equality of outcome, not equal opportunity. And people are starting to realize that, but the far left Democrats are fighting it tooth and nail. Of course they are. And anything that doesn't make sense, they're going to fight. So now in today's episode of, I'm going to call it when keeping it woke goes wrong, Trump's appointees are receiving death threats. That's right. The left, self-proclaimed champions of tolerance. That's what they call themselves, are threatening lives because they can't handle democracy. These are the same people who preach about protecting democracy while tearing it apart faster than my kids opening up Christmas presents on Christmas Day.
It's pretty fast.
That's pretty fast. So, and let's not forget our commander in thief, Joe Biden. Joe is pardoning Hunter. Yes, Hunter, the one that kicks back 10% to the big guy, after facilitating millions of dollars while with foreign adversaries using the Biden name, all while hiding, I'm sorry, I didn't get this one out, all while snorting Parmesan cheese off the carpet. And this is his words, by the way, thinking it was crack. So, sorry, we're a little tired today. But Joe spent years weaponizing the DOJ against Trump. Now he's playing Captain Save-A-Son, or Captain Save-A-Joe, I would say, to protect himself and his family. The hypocrisy is almost bittersweet at this point, because you see the Democrats, they're scrambling right now, and they're saying, oh, I can't believe Joe did this. Now it's going to give Trump carte blanche to say, well, Joe did it. I'm going to pardon all the J6ers. I'm going to pardon whoever I want, which, you know, will make sense if he did. I don't know if he's going to, but it's okay for the Democrats to do it when the time comes, but now they're afraid that Trump is going to do it. So they're all spiraling downhill. So to recap, the border's a mess. Democrats are busy protecting criminals and their yoga budgets. You know, Trump's appointees need Secret Service level security, and Joe Biden's giving Father of the Year run for its money. So let's go to our next segment.
Tears, just righteous pride. In the streets our spirits reside. Unity strong, we walk this line. One big voice, it's our time. You're as cold as ice.
So like I said in the monologue, I think, you know, the song's written by Foreigner, and they're foreigners, legal immigrants, and Tom Homan is coming in there and he's saying he's getting them out.
He's the ice part.
Yeah, he's the ice part. There you go. What do you think about that?
He's cold. He's stern. He's going to get the job done, I think, as much as he can. I'm looking forward to it. I have a lot of family that have come over to this country legally. Went through some difficulties, some of them even getting here, some of them, you know, more easily than others. And I think it's kind of a slap in the face to them who come here to actually be productive, work in this country, to start a life in this country, have dual citizenship, you know, whatever the case may be, raise families, and to give back to communities, versus some people that are here illegally, a lot of them criminals, a lot of them with even, you know, a lot of them are even kids that are parentless, that they were probably stolen from their families, being used for all kinds of crimes, which, you know, horrific things. I think that we need to definitely tighten up securities, and for the mayors, governors, or what have yous that are all against that in these sanctuary cities, which New Jersey is a sanctuary city. So I'd love to know what his thoughts on that I'm not Jersey sure of. But
well, we can give you Tom Homan's thoughts right now. Let's play the first clip.
All right, sounds good.
When you hear these Democrat governors and people like AOC saying that they're going to block any attempt to deport, what's your reaction?
They're obviously not very smart because President Trump is clear. Out of the gate, we're concentrating on public safety threats and national security threats. What politician, whether you're a mayor or governor, is saying, no, I want public safety threats to remain in my community? I mean, give me a break. But, ICE is going to do it. And here's the thing. They don't let us in the county jail to arrest the bad guy, which means they're going to release the bad guy back in the community, put the immigrant community at greater risk of crime. It forces ICE agents into the community, which puts ICE agents at danger, but it also puts the immigrant community at danger because when we find a bad guy, and we will, there's going to be others with him, others that weren't even on our radar. So what they're saying, if you're going to force us in the neighborhood to arrest more illegal aliens than what we originally planned to do. So their idea is just, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, they're going to invite more federal strength into those communities, and you're just going to wind up grabbing more of them and deporting them. AOC is saying the answer is mass amnesty. I mean, it would save you a lot of work, but what do you say to her?
It's ridiculous. You're going to reward illegal behavior. You award amnesty, you're never going to fix the border. This country's shown over and over again that if you don't have consequences, they're going to keep coming. Awarding amnesty means millions of them are going to come saying, look, I can cross the border legally. I can lose my case in front of an immigration judge, and I still get to stay. And that's what people don't understand. People say mass deportation is a bad thing. No, we just had historic illegal crisis on the border. Millions of people crossed the border illegally. Every one of them committed a crime by crossing the border illegally. If you look at the immigration stats, 9 out of 10 of them will get an order removal. They have to be executed because if we don't execute those orders, then what the hell are we doing, Jesse? Just shut down the immigration court. Doesn't mean anything anymore. Take the border patrol off the border because there's no consequences. The law is clear. Now, we'll give you a due process. You can have your day in court, but when your order removed, you're going to leave, and we're going to make you leave.
Are you going to deport doctors? They're saying that there's going to be migrant doctors in the middle of surgery.
No, I know, Jen, we always, on almost every show, we hammer border security and illegal migrants and stuff like that. But it's important. It keeps coming up every single week. I mean, Trump is promising that he's going to get them out. Tom Homan, the borders is coming at them hard, but he's going after the ones that have criminal records. I mean, technically, in my mind, they all do because they cross their border illegally. Right. But you can't defy a federal order. I mean, if you look into it too, you guys can look it up yourself. In Chicago, the Chicago Mayor Johnson, his citizens he's supposed to represent are up in arms. They're all going after him over the illegal migrants, and they have needs too. They're American citizens, and they are ripping him up and down because they spent $600 million with illegal immigrants because they're a sanctuary city over the past 2 years. And their deficit right now is $1 billion, and 20% of the money that the city gets is from federal grants, federal income. So Trump's threatening to take it away. So they're already $1 billion in deficit. Right. And so all the citizens of Chicago were like, wait a minute. What about us? We're spending all of our taxpayers. They go to work every day. They're paying their taxes, and it's all going to illegal migrants. And Johnson is saying, I'm not letting Tom Homan in. I'm going to stop them.
That's because they're greedy. They want the money. That's all they care about. They don't care about the migrants. They don't care about the welfare of their cities. They just want the money. They want the money to be able to funnel into other things, just move it around and use it for things like probably their salaries or I don't know, but whatever illegal means, I'm sure that they're going to try to hide it in. It all comes down to money. You follow the money, you find your criminals. And these people that are saying that they're not going to let these, like the Homan, the ISIS to come in and take care of, do their jobs, they need to be arrested. Because as far as I remember, Biden had said it and Pelosi had said it, Pelosi, whatever, that no one is above the law. So...
Sorry.
I know, it's comical, but no one is above the law except for all of them, Pelosi, Biden, and anyone else who wants to follow suit with them. Then they're all above the law. Then the law is bad until it can be changed to serve their purposes, not the citizens of the United States.
Yeah, no, I believe you're correct there. But the only good thing, what I really, it's like a warm blanket, that Trump is in. Trump isn't the savior of the world, but he's going to run this country the way it's supposed to be run.
And he's not perfect.
No, nobody is. But I mean, look at all the changes already. Look at he threatened tariffs on Canada, Mexico, and Trudeau's spent 3 hours dinner with him in Mar-a-Lago. Did you already said to him, Trump?
No, I did not.
Trudeau said, well, you can't hit us with 25% tariffs. He said, you'll bankrupt our country. And he said, well, if your country relies on ripping off the United States, he said, then we can just make you the 51st state of the United States and we'll let you be governor. And then somebody said, well, they're very left wing up there. And he said, well, we'll split Canada in half. Well, the right wings and the left wings. So that way, it'll work better with the electoral votes. But he actually said it. It was pretty
That's
funny.
awesome.
Yeah. So, but he's bringing people to the table. And that's the thing. He says what he's going to do. And he does what he says. And that's why people voted him in. Because they're not liars. They're not, I mean, you want to call him a convicted felon for decades old, business dealings, that Alvin Bragg went after him for, then go ahead. But look at the Biden family. Look at, they've been crooks for decades, steal money from taxpayers. What, 40 years he's been in office, over 40 years now, between Senate and Vice President and President, and they've been hiding all these shell companies. They've uncovered almost 20 shell companies that they're laundering money through, and then Biden goes and pardons, Hunter over it.
I know.
But
It's ridiculous. I mean, it's been kind of open season on American citizens for far too long in these past 4 years. Between the economy going up, they're hitting us that way, that the illegals coming in, and they're hitting us that way, giving all our money overseas to everything, allowing China to buy proper. It's just been open season. And now we're going to President Trump wants to try to tighten the reins back and give some of the power back to the people. That's why he was voted in. And people like, The View, I just wanted to bring this up really quick. There's a woman, her name is
Anna Navarro.
Anna Navarro. Yes, she's on The View, and she basically encouraged Biden to, not saying that she had her part in it, but she encouraged Biden on The View to pardon Hunter. And the reason being was she said that the American people just pardoned a criminal who was convicted of felony. So therefore he should, and I'm paraphrasing, that he should, but President Biden should pardon Hunter. Just because we have a criminal now, the American people voted a criminal in. So I don't understand how that's even relatable in any way, shape, or form. But she says she's okay with that. So she's against basically the American people's decisions and their choice. So, her view on The View is irrelevant because she doesn't speak for the majority.
No, the majority already spoke. And that's a good thing. The majority already spoke, voted in the right person. Country's going to change. We have been getting our butts kicked by the far left Democrat and all the everything that's been going on. I just can't believe it took this long. I can't believe it did. But it doesn't matter. It happened. So like I said before, we got to keep going. We got to keep plowing through. We can't just say, okay, we won, it's over with. We got to pave the way to get our country back. And that's extremely important not to take your foot off the gas. Very, very important. Because you see the far left right now, they're nonstop, they're relentless. And we'll get into that later. But they're completely relentless, and they'll make up any excuse why, it's okay that Biden did this now. It's okay that we have this. No, it's not.
They're covering their asses.
Yeah, it's not. But before, we were the demons. We were Satan incarnate. We were fascists and everything else. But now, once you turn the cards over and Biden's on his way out, you do whatever he wants, and you make excuses for him. I mean, the media is held accountable. That they lied for Biden this entire time. They lied for him. Mm-hmm. And now you're looking at MSNBC. Ratings tanked.
But
CNN ratings
you
tanked.
call them media, though. They're not media.
Well, they're not. Yeah,
They're basically just opinion pieces. It's like kind of what's that TV show? It's I'm trying to think of the damn TV show. The TV show that used to be like on MTV when they would be like, you know, filming everybody in the house. I can't think of.
Well, I don't know. It was a reality show, I guess.
Show. There you go. I couldn't think of that.
Well, that's not the name of the show.
No, but it's basically media is just some kind of weird reality show that's just filming and taking and giving opinion pieces, and it's all drama. That's basically all they are.
Yeah, that's basically it.
They're not media anymore.
No,
that's what I was getting at. It just took me a minute because my brain is slower than his.
Yeah. No, well, we're both tired, just by the way. We're very tired. We had a long, long week. So we're trying to get it together. We want to keep our show going because we figured that it's very important to keep the message going. You know, Jen and I and our producer, the other David back there, you know, we don't get paid to do this. We do it because we care about our families, care about our state, and care about our country. So at this point, we can move on to our next segment, and we'll play our ad.
America faces challenges like never before. Economic uncertainty, social unrest, debt implosion. The foundations of our freedom are under attack. To restore strength, prosperity, and the American way of life,
I plan to ensure that the United States will be the crypto capital of the planet and the Bitcoin superpower of the world.
Introducing the Trump token, blending the deflationary model of Bitcoin with the technological advancement of Solana. It's more than just a cryptocurrency. It's America's future medium of exchange. Stand with Trump. Secure your future at thetrumptoken.com.
No more tears, just righteous pride. In the streets, our spirits reside. Unity strong, we walk this line. One big voice, it's our time.
Does the gentleman yield?
Someone asked if you,
does the gentleman yield?
Stansberry asked. Okay, no. Gentleman's time's expired. Any other members seek recognition? Yes, Ms. Presley from Massachusetts.
Thank you. This bill titled the Dismantling DEI Act is an utter disgrace. Having sat and read the text in preparation for today's markup, I have yet another example to tell my constituents about the unserious work of the Republican Party. Now, I'll work with anyone serious about progress who wants to center the people who call this country home. This isn't it. The Committee on Oversight has the broadest jurisdiction in the entire House of Representatives to investigate any topic it chooses, but we are debating legislation that denies the sky is blue, water is wet, and racism is real. The major provision of the bill says to ban anything that acknowledges racism. And a few pages later in the exact same bill, there are multiple provisions discussing the presence of racism. This Republican approach is as predictable as it is nonsensical. On one hand, they're saying that racism does not exist. On the other hand, they are saying there is rampant reverse racism. Well, how do you reverse something that never existed in the first place? Riddle me that. While this Republican policy may have a new name, it's the same old tired game. Look, y'all are entitled to your opinions, but not a denial of the facts. Do you all know your history? Do you know American history? The original Constitution counted enslaved individuals as 3/5 of a person. During World War II, the federal government forcibly relocated and incarcerated 110,000 Japanese Americans. The FHA practiced redlining in the 1930s and 60s to deny mortgages to Black Americans, which is why we have a racial wealth gap today. I could go on. The GI Bill, which is supposed to be race neutral, denied access to Black Americans, denying them equal access to education and housing benefits, which is why we do not have generational wealth. Don't talk to me about merit when those Black servicemen fought for our freedoms. And I'd also just like to take a personal note of privilege to say, please keep Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s name out of your mouths. Yes. Your perversion of his words and his mission when his children have asked you to stop invoking his name and perverting his work when he was a proud and unapologetic Black man fighting for equality for Black Americans and all marginalized people. So you all are entitled to your opinions, but not a denial of the facts. But I'm not surprised that you would deny American history. What I am, though, is committed. Committed to speaking truth to power, committed to standing up for marginalized communities and vulnerable people, committed to ensuring that everyone has equal opportunity to buy a house, to work a job, to pursue higher education, and to live in a society that is fair and just. A colleague across the aisle invoked the phrase of, we must do everything to stop government-sponsored oppression. Well, I've just enumerated numerous examples, which is exactly why we have legislation and an executive order to reverse this harm. And that is why I'm committed to opposing this bill and urge my colleagues to do the same.
Gentlelady yields back. We'll go back. We'll rotate sides. Chair recognizes Mr. Perry from Pennsylvania, then we'll recognize Talib after that.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield my time, such time as he may consume, to the gentleman from Louisiana, Mr. Higgins.
I thank my colleague, and I appreciate my Democrat colleague for exemplifying exactly the kind of oppression of freedoms that we're referencing. How about we'll quote whoever we want to quote? How about that's my First Amendment right? That's exactly the kind of baked-in oppression. Like, how dare a white Republican quote Martin Luther King? We actually had a congressman say that just now in this committee. Well, thank you, good lady, for once again exemplifying the type of oppression that we stand against. You know I'm right. You know I'm right.
Order. Mr. Higgins has the floor.
And we will quote who we please to quote.
A disgrace.
And we will continue to speak freely because now I'm a veteran. That's the country that I serve. That's the Constitution I swore an allegiance to. And that oath has no expiration date. I will fight for it with my last life's blood. For my right to speak freely and yours, good lady. You will never hear me saying, how dare you quote anybody you please to quote. And that exemplifies, America, precisely the type of institutional oppression that my colleague, Mr. Cloud's bill, for which I'm an original co-sponsor, hopes to push back against.
But Mr. Higgins, have you read your own bill? Have you read your own bill?
No,
Because it is trying to
Mr.
regulate speech.
Lady.
It is actually
Hey, Ms.
regulating
Stansberry, you're out of
speech.
order. Ms. Stansberry, you're out of order. It's
I know we touched on it earlier on this segment, Dismantle DEI, but the clip you just saw was Ayanna Pressley and Clay Higgins going back and forth in a congressional hearing. Congress trying to push a bill through to get rid of DEI in government. You know, get rid of it in our military, get rid of it in any government job, period, because it doesn't work. I mean,
Schools.
in their schools, everything. I mean, it really doesn't work. I mean, if you're qualified for a job, you should be hired for that job. I mean, if you want a program out there that's going to teach you how to be qualified for the job, that's fine. But you can't just hire somebody because of how they look, or where they're from, or whatever, their gender, whatever it may be. That's, you know, this country is built on meritocracy. You're not going to get there, you know, in that way. So that clip between Ayanna Pressley and Clay Higgins, Ayanna Pressley mentioned something about another congressman, he quoted Martin Luther King. And you know, she said, take Martin Luther King's name out of your mouth. And then when Clay Higgins got to speak, he said, this is my First Amendment right. I'll quote whoever I want to quote. He said, that's the problem. And it is the problem. You can't just tell people that they're not allowed to say what they want. And you can't hire who you want and is qualified for the job. I mean, that's the way this country's going. And then you look at that. I mean, this is Congress too. You know, somebody that's in there, you know, take his name out of your mouth. Like, no, and he can. Well, he didn't actually quote him. Somebody else did, but he can quote whoever he wants to, and he made it clear. He said, "I'll never tell you who you can quote and who you won't, and who you can't quote." So, I mean, that's the whole point. But this is our Congress going back and forth like children. Yeah. You know, it's not what they're elected to do. I mean, we look to them to pass the laws, to get, you know, they're not always going to get along. You know, they're going to have differences of opinions. But when you see them, I watch every almost every congressional hearing, and I listen to them all. And it's boring, but it's when I'm driving to work or whatever, my lunch break, but I torture myself through
Yeah,
it.
I was going to say, you're torturing yourself with congressional hearings during your lunch break?
Because I'm curious, I want to know what's going on. I want to know what's going on. And, when I hear them go back and forth, it's like children. It reminds me of like my son and my daughter just like arguing over something so stupid. I'm like, you're
touching me.
Yeah. Am I touching you? Am I touching you? Am I touching you? It's getting so close.
He said this.
Yeah. It's
he
like,
called me a boogie head.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it is. And it's a shame. I always joked around. I think they have a jail down there. Like if you get out of line in Congress, they can actually like throw you in the jail cell. And then if I ever won, I'd probably be the first person, if ever, thrown in there, because I would just stand up and say, "Shut up." Like, I mean, you gotta be kidding me. Like, we were arguing over this, and we hear AOC speak, when she was arguing with, what was it, with Martin Taylor Greene. When she's like, "Baby girl." I don't know who, I'm like, this isn't like a street fight. You know what I mean? This is, your congressmen and women.
It's stupid.
Yeah, it's like,
to all women.
I don't know. I mean, that's just the way, it's almost like you said, a reality TV show.
Yeah.
See, I remember that.
Yes. I had the problem with remembering. You're better at it.
I wrote it down, so I didn't forget.
No, this whole thing with DEI. I mean, the words themselves, diversity, equity, and inclusion, in their entirety by themselves. There's nothing wrong with those words, but when you use those words to push an agenda, they can become dirty and kind of narcissistic and self-serving. Like that's not what they're supposed to mean. So we already have laws that have been in place for, let's see, since the 1960s, at the very least, yes. So since the 1964, we've had civil rights acts. We have federal equal employment opportunity laws, and there's a lot of them. And basically, they do what DEI is supposed to do, okay, which helps to have people get jobs and not be discriminated against for anything, whether the skin color, their ethnicity, their religion, their sex, doesn't matter. Whether it's federal or state or whatever, they're not supposed to, there's laws to protect that. So we can't be sitting there, and now they're trying to make it out like we need DEI or else all hell's going to break loose and nobody's ever going to get a job again ever in their life. That's just absurd, and that's a fear tactic, and it's more narcissistic, manipulative behaviors, and I'm really getting tired of it. We have a lot of narcissists in politics, and that's why you see the reality TV show fighting back and forth, because it's all about what they want. It's not about what the American people want. And this is why I said before, even in our last shows, this is why we can't just rely on President Trump. We, the people, have to start putting better representation into these positions. Our Senate and our Congress are very important positions, so that we can have people that can have a conversation without having, pretty much a word salad food fight in Congress.
Yeah, you're right.
I mean, it's ridiculous.
That's why they should have voted for me.
They should have voted for you. I voted for you.
Thank you.
And,
It wouldn't have been a word salad unless I was tired. I know I have a couple of them on the show. But
no, but you would have actually told them to all go shut the fuck up and start doing their jobs. And that's what we kind of need. So
I would have treated it like my job site.
You would have said, put your feelings at the door, and, don't be getting your feelings hurt. If that's the case, then there's the door, and come back when you're ready to.
No, it's my feelings box at the gate.
Well,
you check your feelings at the gate, you put them
door,
in.
Gate, I don't care.
Go in, do your job, and then you pick your feelings up on the way out.
The point is that, when that, I don't remember which congresswoman or whatever it was that accused someone for quoting Martin Luther King. She doesn't own the rights to be able to even say what he can and cannot, quote, regardless whether the person was Black, Hispanic, or not. You can respect what someone says and use that quote and for good purposes and not have to be judged upon it. There's no, skin color quota that belongs, that you have to, be a certain color skin in order to say certain, quotes or phrases from another person, as long as your skin color matches. It doesn't work that way.
And
it's stupid.
And it kind of segues into DUI, and it's what divides us.
It actually goes against what she said. Goes against DEI.
It divides us. Like we're all Americans, and that's what it should be. I should be able to quote whoever I want to quote. But do you think the DEI leads to complacency? Because you don't have to work hard. You don't need the merit to get there.
What makes America great is the fact that you have the pursuit of happiness. There's no guarantee of happiness, but the pursuit of happiness means that I can try to, because not many other countries can do this, I can try to pursue whatever job. I'm not told that I have to try, I can only do certain things. I can try to do whatever job that I want to, and I can fail at it repeatedly, miserably, over and over again if I choose to, because I want to pursue that happiness, that goal that makes me happy. It allows you to fail and then get up again. That's what makes the country great again, to keep fighting, like Rocky, like we talked about before.
Yeah.
Okay? You get punched, knocked down, and you get back up again, and you keep going until you become the Rocky champion and get a statue down in, Center City. Okay? Yeah. Like that's, but that's what makes America great, okay, is to take the punches and get back up, or change direction, or go into a different plan. It doesn't mean that everybody is afforded that, okay? It doesn't mean that, well, you got knocked down, so therefore, you should just go for this job, and we're going to let you in just because you're a woman, or we're going to let you in this job just because you're Hispanic, or because you're black, or whatever. That does a discredit for whoever that person is. Like, as me as a woman, if I'm getting hired just because they need to fill a quota for more women, that's not hiring me for who I am and what I can offer. And that doesn't mean that during that me being hired that I'm ever going to be considered anything more than just a woman. They're never going to actually value what I have to offer if all they see is me as a woman. And that goes with any other.
They don't see you as
that diversity, ethnicity, and inclusion. Yeah, okay, you can be included because of your ethnicity or whatever, but that doesn't mean that you're going to be valued. That doesn't mean that you're going to actually even have anything to offer.
Yeah. No,
that
you're right.
Doesn't mean that you're going to learn from anything either.
And it sets the bar low for people because, you mentioned the other day too, like if we were just talking about, if as all you see somebody as a race or a gender and don't see what they actually have to offer.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically what I was saying was that if you, as a nurse, if you're only treating someone just based off of the fact that they are, let's just say, autistic or have a disability of whatever kind, if you're only treating that person just based off of that disability, you're doing an injustice to that person, because they are more than just that disability. And that person then is never going to grow, because they're never going to see themselves anything more than the disability that they have. They're not going to see themselves as a whole person. It's just going to be one segment of a person. And that's what DEI does. It segments people into too many different categories instead of just lumping them as a whole person and allowing them to succeed based off on their own merits.
Yeah, exactly, based on their own merits. And then you have to look at it too. There are certain things that people can't do. Like, like I can't dunk a basketball. What did you say to me the other day?
I was saying,
Would they lower the hoop? Like, so if I can't play in the NBA. I'm 5'5".
Not unless we have movable baskets.
Yeah. And then what do I do?
When you're coming down the court, we can lower it so that you can score. That's what DEI does, though. That's what DEI does. It has to lower the basket, and so that when you're coming down the court, you have an opportunity to score. And then we have to raise it up higher for the ones that are taller, so that it's a fair advantage. That's basically what DEI is.
Yeah. And I would actually...
That basketball game would be the most boring basketball game ever.
Well, it might not be, because I'd have to go even lower, because I wouldn't be able to shoot over their heads to get in the lower basket. I'd have to crawl through their legs.
I wouldn't want to watch that.
I'd have to crawl through their legs and try to dunk it or whatever, something like that.
Well, that would actually be an advantage for you.
Well, yeah, I guess so.
because you can go through their legs. They kind of get past them, okay? That would be an advantage. That's something that's, short people have the ability to be sneakier and stuff. So it doesn't mean that the thing is, you could still play basketball. In the world that we have, you could still try to make the team on your own merit. But if they hired you just because you were short and they had to fill a quota, you're going to sit on the bench and you're going to get a bone once in a while. You're never going to accomplish anything, and you're never going to feel good about yourself.
That's a good point.
I have them sometimes.
So, all right. So let's we'll play our next ad and we'll go into our third segment.
There is nothing wrong with a touch of patriotism during the Christmas holidays. After all, sacrifices have been made so that we can celebrate Christmas. Sacrifices are being made so that we can all celebrate Christmas in peace and in a free nation. Before you gather with your family and friends this Christmas holiday, take a moment and hang your American Christmas flag out in front of your house and say thank you. Thank you to those who have sacrificed, and thank you to those sacrificing all over the world. The American Christmas flag is a gentle way to say that in our house, during this Christmas season, your sacrifices have not gone unnoticed. When you put your outdoor decorations up this year, make a special place for the American Christmas flag. The American Christmas flag is a Christmas decoration you can be proud of, and it's made right here in America. Get your American Christmas flag at www.theamericanchristmasflag.com. Merry Christmas, America.
Just righteous pride. In the streets our spirits reside. Unity strong, we walk this line. One big voice, it's our time.
All right, and welcome back. Segment 3, the threats keep on coming. That's the far left Democrats. When they can't win fairly an election, then they threaten your life. And all of Trump's appointees, well, most of them anyway, people like Pete Hegseth, Kash Patel, been threatened with bomb threats, death threats. I think it was up to like 13 of them so far are all being threatened.
It's crazy. It's like something out of a movie.
Yeah, I'm saying, okay, you lost the election. Okay, that's just. Because Trump won. I'm not gonna have sex until 2028. Well, hopefully we get an extension on that for most of these that say it. But seriously, it doesn't make any sense. And then if you can't win a fair election, I mean, I think you damn well know they cheated in 2020.
Yeah.
I was never really an election denier, but when I seen the amount of votes that the 20 million less votes in this election, this one was the biggest blown out, like a pumped up election.
That's the thing. People have to get out to vote so that you get so many votes that they can't, the cheating, you have to exceed the cheating. They can only cheat so much.
Yeah.
If you got to get out there to vote to supersede that. And
yeah, but if they can't win fair and square, then it's like, okay, well, they don't want Trump to win. So that's Russia hoax. Let's impeach him twice.
Violent temper tantrums.
Yeah, it's impeach him twice. Let's try to bankrupt him. Let's try to put him in federal prison. That doesn't work. Let's try to kill him. And then he wins.
Going after, I just heard this. I don't know that much about it, but they're going after Elon Musk now, too.
Oh, yeah, in Delaware. That was, I read about that today.
Something about
it was basically
making too much money and that they're finding him, or I don't know.
Well, it was something along the lines of.
I'm not Jersey sure on how that works.
Well, I read a little bit about it. So, I'm not Jersey sure. But no, basically, when he started Tesla, it was back in like 2018. And that's not when he started Tesla, but when I was getting ready to go public, it was worth like X amount of dollars. So he labeled himself, said, I will not take income as an employee, none whatsoever. But if it hits a certain percentage and the stocks go up a certain amount, then he's eligible for a big payday. It was like, I don't know, it was like,
Seems fair.
Yeah, it was like $600 billion or something like that. But everyone,
Big payday.
yeah, well, nobody thought it would happen. I mean, all the critics were like, he's out of his mind. He's insane. There's no way. There's no way. I mean, that's all the
That
articles.
does seem like an awfully big number to attain.
Yeah, I read a few articles. I couldn't get through it all today, but maybe it's something we can talk about next week. I'm sure there'll be more news on it.
Circle back on that. But point is that they're going after him at a very convenient time.
Oh, of course, of
When
course.
he's going to be overseeing and looking at all the financial stuff of the whole government, they're now going to look at him.
Yeah.
Before that, it was like nothing to see here, but now all of a sudden.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Yeah. Anytime they'll find something to go after you because you're winning, and you're proving them wrong. You're proving them crazy. So and Elon Musk, they don't have a leg to stand on because he was criticized by so many people saying that'll never happen. He's a nut. There's no way he's going to get that much money and not pay himself. So his entire board, all the stockholders were, I think it was 73% of them voted yes. That he won't take the money, but if it ever hits a certain point, boom, he gets a big payday. And no one thought he was going to do it. And he did. So he proved them wrong. He got his payday. And now that he's, aligned with Trump, let's find a way to go after Elon Musk. It's the same thing they did them with government contracts, SpaceX and all that stuff. When Biden was in, they weren't giving him the contracts when he, the stuff that he has is way better than NASA. I mean, but they were just going after him because of those reasons. But yeah, so
I mean, they can't. They have nothing else left to do other than to be violent. Sadly, because first of all, they do not know how to have an intelligent conversation. Well, first of all, I want to say this: it's not apply to all Democrats, okay? Because I know Democrats they can have a very intelligent conversation. Yeah, it has something to do with that. I'm talking about the people
radical left
that are completely radical left that are actually violent and thinking that violence is the answer now to all their problems or some kind of an extreme action of some sort, like shaving their head or vowing to never have sex again, which to me, again, sometimes that might not be a bad idea for some, just saying. But the point being, though, is that like these temper tantrums, they're all just, again, for show. It's all about me. And they're afraid because of the fact that some of the things that they've said about Trump have, been wrong about him. And, they act like he's just, only cares about the Republicans. He's befriended, Elon Musk, who was an independent. He's RFK was a Democrat, and he's an independent now. I don't know that's how he ran, but RFK Jr. was. He used to be a Democrat.
Then he went independent.
Right.
I think he's still labeled as independent, but he's with Trump.
But he's been a Democrat. His whole family's been Democrats for years. So I would say he's probably more of a Democrat than he is independent. But Trump is having reach to all different people, parties, different types of Republicans, Democrats, independents, and he's trying to get a team, an actual team, which he didn't do, in my opinion, such a great job the first time around. Not that he did a bad job, but I think he trusted a lot of the wrong people, and that just comes with experience. And then don't get me wrong, just because you have experience in politics doesn't mean that you're an expert in picking and choosing people. I mean, look at Kamala Harris, Biden picked her, which she's done nothing. And then she picked, what's that potato head guy's name? Waltz.
Oh, Waltz. Tim.
Yeah. So, they all sucked. But the thing is, he's a threat to them in their minds because he's broadening his reach and really trying to accomplish something that's for the American people. These people are having violent fits because one, they either don't have the intellect to even really see what's going on, or they're just so brainwashed that they can't see it, or two, they're part of the problem that is fueling all this hate in disguise of DEI or And like I said, I'm not saying all DEI is necessarily bad. There may be some aspects of it that might be good, but most of it all has an agenda, and that agenda is division, and it is to cause all of us to not come together and to be divided. And
well, yeah, you're right. It comes down to selfishness. I mean, that's what I look at people like that, and they're selfish. And, they're about themselves. They're not about a larger group, not a community, not about, looking at it, as being Americans, this country. It's all about me, 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 me. And when you get that little bit of attention and everyone's covering it, men can be women, women can be men, and all that stuff, and you get that little piece of attention, and they blew it up when you had like TikTok, all the social media stuff. And then when common sense rolls back around, and the majority of American people are like, whoa, wait a minute. We just want to live like Americans, live the American dream, raise our families, and go to work, pay our taxes. And then we don't want all this crazy shit. It's like,
people are also seeing, at least that's what I believe, that they're seeing now that the media is just nothing more than the Saturday Night Live TV show, okay? It's just not any different than any other TV show. It's there for entertainment purposes, and they might have a couple of truth tidbits in there, but what they're realizing is a lot of the stuff they're being told is lies, because when they go out into the real world and they meet people of whether they're transgender, gay, black, Hispanic, white, whatever the case may be, and they go out and everybody's just like, hey, how you doing? And everybody's fine and getting along. And then they're going and everybody's complaining about the same things about, the fact that bread costs too much money, or this costs too much money, or the gas is too much, and everybody has common interests and common goals that way. They realize that a lot of the bullshit that you're seeing on TV, not here at Jersey Shore, but on the TV, other places, then is all a bunch of BS, and it's all an agenda, and that in the real world, people can come together. There's always going to be evil assholes or hairs. Exactly, because they're the worst, okay? And they're worse than assholes. So, but my point being is that they're always going to be those kind of people. And unfortunately, we have a lot of them in government right now, and we need to weed them out or pluck them out, however you want to call it.
Pluck out the. But no, you're right. I mean, and you're completely right about that. And the thing is, it doesn't matter who you are, what you want to claim to be, and I don't mean like that. I get along with everyone. But then when you realize, when you come out with everybody else and say, hey, well, I don't look at you like that. You're just a person. You're an American. And, like I was a guest on Seth's podcast, Conservative Corner, Sunday. And before I came on, like in his intro, he's talking me up. He's like, if you don't know who this guy is, it's sad. And I'm looking at him, waiting for him to come on. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? Sad? Who knows who I am, And he's like, yeah, he's a pretty big guy. And I'm like, well, I know he's not talking about tall. So, but then he comes on, I'm like, well, you kind of talked me up there a little bit, buddy. I said, I'm nothing special. I'm just a regular guy that loves his family, loves his country, and just trying to make a difference. That's why I do this. I never look at myself as anything special, and then I'll tell everybody else, other than my children, but I'm like, if you think about it, you're not that special. But the more special you get is if you contribute. But it doesn't matter if you're Donald Trump, or it doesn't matter if you're a stranger walking down the sidewalk. If I were to meet Donald Trump, yeah, sure, I'd be like, yeah, great, hey, Donald Trump, nice to meet you, fine. But I would talk to him like a normal person. He's not anything better than me, better than you, better than anybody else. But he did pull something off that I didn't think he was going to do. So, I mean, like I said, some people are better at things than others. Mm-hmm. So, but, put a hammer in his hand, he's not going to swing a hammer like I can.
Okay.
So, but yeah, that's the whole point. But, we're Americans.
The whole purpose that we're having this podcast is to reach all people. It doesn't matter if they have the same beliefs as us or not. We want people to have discussions and respect each other's opinions again. That's what the whole purpose of getting information out there, having discussions and generating discussions, and that's what we're here to do. So
all right, let's go to our next ad, and then we'll go to our loser of the week.
Welcome to the Patriots Prayer Network. Here, we don't just play to your feelings. We're rooted in honesty, and our foundation is based on Christian values, conservative beliefs, and a no-holds-barred approach. So, if your feelings clash with reality, it's not reality that needs adjusting. Are you ready to be part of a movement that challenges the official narratives, confronts the overwhelming tide of misinformation, and calls out wrongdoing wherever we find it? If so, you're in the right place. See, truth is our compass, and God is our only judge. Right and wrong mean more to us here at the Patriots Prayer Network than right and left do, and a complacent blind acceptance of the status quo will not be found here. We do not believe things are this bad in our country merely by accident. So, we investigate and dive deep into each episode and tackle pressing issues head on. Many podcasts claim they're unfiltered, but we mean it here. Go to thepatriotsprayernetwork.com.
No more tears, just righteous pride. In the streets our spirits reside. Unity strong, we walk this line. One big voice, it's our time.
All right, and you want to do our loser of the week? You brought her up earlier.
I get the honor of doing the loser of the week, the Steve the Tank Kush Award, right here, because he tanks, can't speak right now, tanks campaigns. Apparently he's tanking my speech too. So the loser of the week that we have right now is Ana Navarro from The View, because of the fact that she is just, she has no respect for the American people and who we voted in there, to the point that she thinks it's okay for Hunter Biden to be pardoned just to say a big F you to the American people. And so here's a big F you to you. You're the loser of the week.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to receive it. As soon as you touched it, you couldn't even talk. That's how effective it is.
It's very much so. It tanked my speech.
Yeah, well, and the fact that you're on The View, you're the loser of every time.
Just that in general.
Yeah, that in general.
You know.
So.
But now you're even more of a loser than you were before.
All right, well, listen, everybody, thank you very much for joining us again. It was a rough time. Like I said, we're both dead tired. We had a long week.
But we're here for you.
Things. We had to drag our butts out here from long days of work. But I personally do enjoy doing it. I didn't feel like doing it tonight, but I enjoy doing it and getting the message out there. And I like the feedback that I'm getting from some people, and people that don't agree even better. I like that because it promotes the conversation. Mm-hmm. You know, I say the same thing on my radio show all the time.
Conversations.
Yeah, exactly. On my radio show, we take callers and stuff, and I'd say I like when people call in that agree with me, of course, but I prefer people that disagree. Because maybe I could teach you something, maybe you could teach me something, but let's just have the conversations. You know, a lot of people don't want to do that anymore.
No,
but
they don't know how to just agree to disagree. That's seems to be a lost concept these days.
Yeah.
Or either that, or the media is portraying that, and really everybody's getting along more than than we think.
Most likely. And if you say something I don't like, I'm shaving my head. All right.
That's okay.
And
I'll shave it for you.
And I'm not having sex for 2028.
No, that's TMI. I really don't need to hear that.
My wife will be calling you. She'll be pissed. So, all right. Thank you, guys. Thanks for joining us on the Jersey Shore. That's SURE, because we're always sometimes sure. Tonight we weren't sure. We weren't sure tonight. Sure. It was a rough one. All right. Thank you. Have a good night, everyone.
Have a good night. Bye.
In the land of the free, galvanized truth, just you and me. Freedom ain't cheap, gotta hold tight. In Jersey Shore, we'll win this fight. No more tears, just righteous pride. In the streets, our spirits reside. Unity strong, we walk this line. One big voice, it's our time. Jersey Shore, we got the fight. Stand together through the night. America first, raising the flag. We ain't never gonna lag. righteous pride. In the streets our spirits reside. Unity strong, we walk this line.